whose first reading was at Beyond Baroque here back in the 1970s. In fact, probably wasn't here. Probably was it when it was on out at Kinney?
Yeah.
The other spot, yeah. Beyond Baroque's original space. He is a psychologist specializing in brain damage and domestic violence, and his books include Whispering in a Mad Dog's Ear, Hard Landing, and The Wren Notebook. As a lyricist and a harmonica player with the Mescal Sheiks, his work is on Blind Man's Trick, This World Is Not My Home, and Mars Market by the Hangen Brothers. He's also heard in the Oscar award-winning film Days of Heaven. Please, everyone, welcome Rick Smith.
Thank you so much for coming out. Is it okay that I slept in this sweatshirt last night?
Adds to the authenticity.
So, Rain Dog published some stuff of mine. He really got me back into writing.
I apologize.
So he put out a thing called the Wren Notebook for me, and Hard Landing. They're both all about the wren. And I'm not going to read from either of those books. I'm going to read you a newer wren poem, just to give you a taste of that, because it's kind of like a persona for me. I like seeds. When the fog laid in, a wren from two worlds came flying across the water. Dark was that water, darker still the wren. She herself was invisible, and so she was gone. You were saying the wren's flying in darkness, it isn't real, because she was only a dream, and just dreaming it, you said, doesn't make it real. I see, sometimes I see things, that makes them mine, and just as real as the empty space that holds them, as they carry on wind from something towards something else. Dreams is what we've got. The flight is real. So then he also put out a book for me called Whispering in a Mad Dog's Ear, which my dear friend Lynn Fowkes did the cover for. And I'll read you a couple things out of this, but I really want to read you some new stuff. I'm looking for a publisher.
Sorry, Rick.
Hyannis, 1982. We're in Hyannis. It's cold. My 65 VW with California plates gets me to the lot behind the Trailways Depot. It's 11 p.m. in January. I got a $100 bill from some doctor up in Leon Lane who wants to get high. I leave the engine running. The lot is empty. The 1042 to Fall River, Pawtucket, and Providence is running late, but it's running. Tailgates fading out on Route 6. A guy in a Red Sox cap under his hoodie slips out from the back of the building. That's who I'm looking for. I give him the 100. He hands me the Coke in a paper bindle. I take a little taste. I pull away. The heater hasn't worked for months, but now I won't need it. One thing leads to another comes on the radio. I love that song. I love this night. You know, Hyannis wasn't such a bad place till the wrong people started moving in. I've been thinking about death a lot. For years. By the way, the last time I read here with Rain Dog, we had 4 people here.
He was moved up.
So thanks for coming. You can always get a parking spot at a poetry reading. When my ride shows, it's called. Big homes have outlying territories, other bedrooms where you can get lost in pretense. Little apartments have tiny yellow tables for toast and promises. The narrow path, the shallow creek, small talk enough to fill up the room, and then the heart with all its treacherous circuitry. The space between us fills with heat and sudden interest in Latin percussion. I've lost the words for ending sentences, but when my ride shows, none of that will matter. In white light, when fever is the only truth, a question will occur and the answer will explain almost everything. So I'm working with Mezcal Sheiks. It's a pretty cool band. There's a CD out, a couple of CDs out there actually. And this poem, they're actually we're gonna go in the studio and do this poem with percussion and bass under it. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like the beatniks in the 50s when I was still a kid. Real poetry. There's a poem called Real Poetry. I was still a kid. It was late November on Route 413, Pineville, Pennsylvania. The ghosts were restless on the porch of the general store, the only store in town. In the distance, the sound of a hammer ringing off cold steel, pounding lonesome at dusk. My dad says, "Son, that's real poetry right there." Years later, on the day we buried my dad, me and Bernie raised a couple of cold rolling rocks at the Pineville Tavern, the only bar in town. We clipped those long necks and talked about Dad. He was with us for a moment. There was motion, I swear, in that smoky tavern air. Some guy down the bar starts mad dogging me. Real poetry right there.